I would venture to say that polar chenille is one of the fastest growing materials in streamer tying that maybe I've ever seen. You see polar chenille in everything, like everything. And there are some things about this stuff that I feel like I can help you with. So in this tying tips video, we're covering polar chenille. Oh, we're already rolling. I don't need to. Yeah. So first things first, I really don't think that polar chenille is neither polar nor chenille. Polar chenille is a corded material that has some of it has a few different textures of material coming out of it, like a few different kinds of material coming out of it. There's a little bit of flash, there's a little bit of more muted flash, there's some skinnier fibers, it's just kind of several materials in one. So as you can see, this is the material. This is the UV Polar Chenille Gold. Lots of different things going on in this. There's some gold fibers, there's some white fibers, there's some like clear fibers. There's a lot going on specifically in the UV Polar Chenille UV. So just fair warning, when you step away from the UV side of things, this stuff almost completely changes. Like the material all but changes to a completely different material. This is the non-UV Polar Chenille in Fluorescent Flame. It's got literally one type of fiber on it. There are no extra fibers in it. So what you run into is it takes a lot more of this stuff to fill up a body than it does the UV Polar Chenille. There's just maybe a third as much materials coming out of the core than there is in this. So regular Polar Chenille that's not the double UV thing, you'll notice it when you see a package. Versus UV Polar Chenille, almost completely different materials. You can kind of tell by how much is in my hands, but this is like a brand new package. Like there's a long line of this, whereas this is just that long. Do you follow? So like a brand new package has this much material in it versus a package that's I might have a quarter of this package left. Way different amounts of bulk. Just fair warning, you're gonna run into this. But each have great uses, and you can absolutely use this one when you want to use this one. You can flip-flop both of them. It just may take a little bit more of the regular non-UV UV type material versus the double UV thick material. Now something else that you'll run into that I get a lot of questions about this is there are basically 3 materials in the fly tying world, all distributed by Hairline, that are all but the same material. I mean, we're talking like the most minute, tiniest little details within these 3 products, but they're basically the same thing. If you're just being honest with yourself, there's no fly tyer out there that's going to be able to tell a finished fly that says, that has UV Polar Chenille, that has Polar Reflector Flash, and that has Sinyo's Aquaveil. And I'll venture to say that the difference in Aquaveil and UV Polar Chenille is the Aquaveil just has cooler names, like grape soda, and like electric green bean or something like that. I mean, there's no difference, guys. No difference. You can totally, Aquaveil kind of has cooler colors. I will say that, but there's no difference in this material. Zero difference. And I promise you, the fish will never be able to tell. You know those guys that think fish can tell how many turns of like ribbing you use? It just drives me crazy. So we're going to jump into a few different ways to actually help you tie with this stuff. This stuff is super easy to tie with. It is not hard to tie with at all, but there are some tips I can give you to all but eliminate waste. Like, I can tie with this whole package of polar chenille and only have maybe 6 inches of waste. So yeah, So one of the first things you're going to notice when you're tying with this stuff is it comes on a cord. You'll notice that material comes off of one side of the cord. So what we want to do is make sure we tie this material in with the cord down and make sure we wrap that way. So I obviously have the cord side on this side and the material side on the other side. I'm going to lay the cord straight down onto the shank of the hook to tie it in. As you can tell, the material comes off of one side of the cord. So we don't want to wrap it material side down. We want to force the cord to be the only thing that wraps around the shank of the hook. So what I do is I hang on to some of this material and make a wrap. And I do this all the way around the hook. If you hang on to the material, the cord will go down first, and you'll just work your way up the hook just fine. When you first get done wrapping this up the hook, it's all kind of gangly and all over the place. There's a couple ways I like to tame it. You can use like the dog slicker brush, like you guys have seen me use a lot in the past. You can use the Loon Ergo brush. These have really strong plastic teeth. So you're just gonna need to tame it by going around just to get any fibers that may have been trapped, because it's almost impossible to not trap any fibers. Then pull this stuff back, brush it back. Already builds a profile, helps with your taper, helps with inside flash. This stuff's great. And yet again, this video is proudly sponsored by Skillshare. You guys have heard me talk about Skillshare over the last several tying tips videos, and it really is super cool. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning and wants to explore their creativity and learn new skills. In the last video, I mentioned Marquez Brownlee from MKBHD on YouTube. Another creator that I've followed for years is Jeven Dovey. Jeven has several fantastic videography classes and general YouTube tips classes as well. I've linked his Skillshare page in the description of this video. But for anyone looking to get into YouTube or get better at YouTube, I highly recommend watching his Skillshare classes. They're fantastic. There's a link in the description of this video that will take you to sign up for Skillshare. And for the first 1,000 people that sign up using the code FlyFishingTheOzarks, you'll get a free month. So yeah, go check it out. Just push that stuff off the desk. So I hate waste, and one of the things that I hate to see a lot is somebody say, I'm gonna cut 6 inches of polar chenille or anything that's on a cord or that's like chenille or anything like that. I kind of hate that because you're guaranteed to waste material when you do that. So I have like a whole package here of polar chenille, just the whole package. I'm gonna tie one end on, and when I wrap forward, I'm gonna cut it off, and I still have the whole amount. There's zero, very little waste in a whole package of this stuff. So yeah, probably the best tip I'm going to give you in this whole video. Fair warning. So the style of tying with a polar chenille type of material that I think is the coolest ever has to be the complex twist. I first saw this from the guys from Fly Fish Food. You know, Cheech is a mad scientist. I don't know if he came up with it, but that's where I first saw it. So I'm going to take my polar chenille type material and tie this in. Next I'm going to tie in a piece of schlappen that is not, it doesn't have to be the best schlappen. This is going to be twisted up This, you can use your seconds or thirds. Like this one is totally twisted. I would never use that for a tail. So I'm gonna tie this in by the tip. And then another piece of typically a different color of chenille. So you can do these in all natural colors with a pop of chartreuse. You can do these in all natural colors with just different colors. It's all gonna blend in and make a really cool effect. The one thing this style does require is a gator grip type of dubbing loop spinner tool. So this is the Loon dubbing loop spinner tool with the gator grip on it, because we have to bite all those materials together. So I'm gonna bring everything together. I'm gonna use the gator grip tool to hold them all together. And now this becomes a dubbing loop, for lack of better term. You're gonna spin this and brush. And now we're gonna wrap this up the shank of the hook. Constantly preening the fibers back. So I'm going to finish this off with 2 different colors of laser dub. Finish it off with some eyes. And you got a super cool little baitfish pattern. Complex twist. Super, super cool. So before we end this video, we're going to give away the flies from the previous tying tips video. The random comment generator picked David Howell. David, shoot me an email, get with me on Instagram, however you want to. Shoot me your address, I'll send you a care package. For your chance to win the giveaway in this video, subscribe to my channel, like the video, stupid fun, and comment on the video. And I'll have the random comment generator pick a random comment and send you some stuff. Yeah. But I hope this video helped you figure out how to tie a little better with this, be a little bit more efficient with it, and get the most out of your polar chenille package. Because, yeah, nobody wants waste. Nobody wants, yeah.